Let's not do math.
All right, so looking at your first question. It says, you may recall the term area tells us something about the number of squares inside a two-dimensional shape. Here are 4 drawings that each show squares inside a shape. Select all, so there might be more than one, are the drawings whose squares could be used to find the area of the shape. Be prepared to explain. So for every one that you circle and feel like it should, or it would, or could, you need to explain why. All right, you have 4 minutes. If you finish before then, please stand up. Benefit and downfall of being moved from class to class.
Do you want us to, like, why we put it on the paper?
Yeah, just right next to the number that you are putting. But I don't care. I don't. Do it again. sit down. I've lost my pen. Is there a black pen back there on that back counter?
Oh, that's. Can I take my lunchbox?
No, not right now.
Okay.
Alright, I'm gonna have to use the blue pen for today, but this still means that you're using pencil. So, stand up if you picked A.
Take more than one, right?
Yes, you can pick more than one. Okay, have a seat. Stand up if you picked B. B as in boy. Shh. We're not having a conversation. All right. Sit down, stand up if you pick C. And then stand up if you pick D. Okay, so A, B, and D were all picked. C was not picked, right? Nobody stood up for C?
No, nobody said.
Okay, so have a seat. So let's talk as a class about C. Why does C not work? Why does C not work? Corbin.
Because it has gaps, and you do not know what the area gaps
Has gaps and what else?
are. And
I just didn't hear what you said. There was just too much noise.
you don't know what the area gaps are.
Okay, why else does C not work? So if it has gaps, we're not sure the area of those gaps. Why else? Haley.
Because it's also overlapping.
Yes. All right, so now we have A, B, and C. So let's talk about A. So why do we feel like A does work? Caleb.
Because like all of the blocks are like all the same size, and they're not like big or they're different sizes.
Okay, so all of the blocks are the same size. Why is this important? Why do all of these units have to be the same? Why do they all have to be the same? Gabriel.
So you can have a measurement
Right.
of just the one instead of having two measurements.
Right, because a lot of times when we find area or surface area or whatever, it's units squared. We can't have units squared of one and then like units to the fourth of another. Like it wouldn't make any sense. All right, let's talk about, so A does work. So that's one that does work. All right, let's talk about B. Okay, so what do we say about B? Christian.
It's not correct because it has different size squares.
Okay, so because square units are different sizes. All right, so therefore then, does B work or not work? It does not work. All right, hold on. So, B doesn't work because of the sizes, but are there any overlaps? No. Are there any gaps? No. So just the fact that it's exactly the same as A, but it just has two separate sets of units in it. Okay, what was your question?
Well, I was gonna say that I thought B did work because if you say D works, B is pretty much the same as D. Just in
Get out of my class right now, son. Get out. Sit outside. Haley, you're about to be next. I'm so sorry. I was super distracted. What did you say?
I thought B did work because B is pretty much the same as D, but it's just the part where the square wouldn't be wholly split into fourths.
Okay, but with them splitting this into fourths, wouldn't they have to split all of them into fourths?
Yeah.
Not necessarily.
Or you could.
You have to because this is one square unit. So this is like 1 inch. If we wanted to put a value on this. So like this is 1 inch by 1 inch. So 1 square unit for this one. This one would be 1/4 squared units or whatever. So because the unit measurement would be different. That is why B does not work. Okay? Now let's talk about D. All right, do we feel like it worked, didn't work? Why? Michaela.
I had a question about B.
Okay, what's your question about B?
So couldn't that help you find, like, if you were given that shape, it wouldn't, like, you wouldn't understand it, but if you were given the shape of A and you were trying to find what the quarter, like, things were, couldn't you split it into fourths?
Nope. Because this is what you would do.
Yeah.
That's
And that
what I put on my card.
And so with B, if we did that, and I've written right here, which is my fault. So if I cut it here and I move it here, I then end up with fourths in this section.
Well, you know that 4 fourths equals.
Right, but it's a different, there's two different sets of units within that shape. You cannot have two different sets of units. It's gotta be one equal unit, like, cause on like, if you're looking at a coordinate grid, you are not gonna have inch by inch blocks, and then all of a sudden over here have a quarter inch by quarter inch by quarter inch. Like, it's all gonna be one size of your graph paper. So that's kinda how you have to think of this one. It's gotta be the same measurement within that shape. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Alright, yes.
So if we converted it to one square unit for all of them, it would work?
Yeah, because it's essentially, there's no overlaps, there's no gaps. The only problem with B is it's got two sets of different units in it. Okay? Alright, D. Alright, so does it work? Does it not work? Why? What do we think? What do we think? I'm going to talk to all of you. Brenna, yes ma'am. So, does D work or not work?
I believe that it did.
Why?
Like, all of the squares are.
Yes. So, for the same reason that A works, D works. So, they're all the same size.
I was thinking that way.
Alright, so now we know that the definition of area is the inside of a two-dimensional shape. That's what we talked about way a long time ago. Down here, number 2 says write a definition of area that includes all the information that you think is important. So looking at these, what do we need to add to our definition? We know it's the inside of a shape. So we're still going to write inside of a 2D shape that what? Okay, that has no gaps or overlaps. And what else does it have to have? Jackson.
Like, all of it is, oh dang, I guess if you're doing area, there's not gonna be square.
What's the other reason things worked or didn't work?
They're all like equal.
Okay, and
Equal measurements?
all the same size. We'll just keep it super simple. All right, so that's our more in-depth definition of area. Okay, so at this point on your table, you need this piece of paper and your pencil. Slide everything else off. The bins that are in the middle, just push the one in for me. And then have your bag of shapes that I passed out. Quickly. This does not require us to talk. Why do I hear talking? Why are we still talking? Okay, so looking at the other side of your paper right now, this is where these shapes are gonna come in handy. So you should have one square. So please get the shapes out of your bag and make sure that you have one square. Some small triangles, some medium triangles. It's okay, as long as you have some. And some large triangles. So if you do not have those, I need you to raise your hand. You should have at least one of each. Huh? That's okay. If you have other shapes, just keep them in the bag. But you need to have one square, some small triangles, at least one medium triangle, and at least one large triangle. Stop touching them and just put them in the middle of your table once you have identified those shapes. All right, looking at the next part of our activity. It says that the square, so everyone look at the square, do not touch the square. The square, so if you need to separate it from your group so you can't see it, please do that. Your square is equal to 1 square unit. That is going to be very important for you to remember for the rest of this activity. So, number 1, it says notice that you can put 2 small triangles together to make a square. So take 2 of your small triangles, put them together, and make a square. So what is the area of the square composed of 2 small triangles? So what's the area of this square that we just made? Anthony. It is equal to 1 square unit. How do you know, Anthony? Right. So essentially 2 of these triangles are equal to this one size. And a really easy way to check is to kind of just overlay it. Alright? But essentially 2 triangles make 1 square. Alright, now on your table, you are going to be doing 2 and 3. Please listen to the directions before you get started. So for number 2, it says use your shapes to create a new shape with an area of 1 square unit that is not a square. So you can't make another square. Cannot do it. You gotta come up with something new that is still equal to 1 square unit. Number 3 says use your shapes to create a new shape with an area of 2 square units. Trace your shape. So for both of these, this one you might not be able to fit. Excuse me, but down here for number 3, you should be able to fit your shape. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. When you finish, please raise your hand so I can come and check. Go. It's also that you're done. Wait, how did you make that? Oh, you should not be using the big instructions. What's your
No, we're not.
I mean, so we can get like,
Using your
Where's your other shape? Don't have any time. Alright, hands off your shapes. That was 3 minutes. Hands off your shapes. Hands off your shapes. Hands off your shapes. Alright, so for number 2, there were a couple different, I only got to like here. But from what I saw from here, what was one shape for number 2 that you can draw? Okay, so you can do a triangle that's made up of 2 triangles. All right, what else did we see? Caleb.
We could make a parallelogram with the 2 triangles.
All right, remember we don't judge my non-ability to draw.
It can't be much work online.
Oh, Jesus.
better than
We
mine.
just traced it on our paper.
You think that's bad?
It's better than mine.
All right, what else did we come up with? I felt like there was another one. What did you guys come up with? Okay, we just did that. Is that it?
Is there another one we could use?
I don't know, can you? For number 2? Listen, so she asked, can we do a trapezoid for number 2? What do we think?
No, you can't hate
All right, raise your hand. Why can you not do a trapezoid? Who is whistling?
I'm over there.
Do not do that again.
Oh.
All right, so why can we not do a trapezoid? Christian.
Because each of those triangles that we're using is half of a square unit. So 3 of them will equal 1.5 square units.
Right, and we're trying to find how many?
2.
One.
Or
One.
1.
All right, so now let's look at number 3. So what were some shapes we came up with?
A trapezoid.
Okay, and
A square in the middle and 2 triangles on the side.
get out. I will write you up. Absolutely not. Take all your stuff and go to Miss Sandoval's room. That is absolutely disrespectful, straight insubordination. I'm sorry, so you did a square in the middle and 2 triangles? Okay, so why does this work? Why does this work? Brock.
Because one triangle is 1 square unit, and the little triangle, one square is 1 square unit, and the little triangle is half of a square unit, so that equals 1, and then 1 plus 1 is 2.
Perfect. All right, Jackson, what was the shape you guys came up with?
Rectangle.
All right, and you did 1 square and then what?
Another square.
Okay, so you did 2 squares, but you don't have 2 squares. So how else did you make 2 squares?
The 2 triangles, if you put them together, it's just
Yes.
another square. Yeah, 2 small triangles with the same side as 1 square.
Yep. So there's another one that we can use. What else did we do? Ace.
We used 2 small triangles and 1 medium triangle.
Okay, but what did you make?
We used 2 small triangles to make a slightly bigger triangle, and then we just put the medium triangle next to it.
Right, but you didn't make a shape. That measurement works, but what shape did you make?
We made a triangle.
Okay, so if you're using a big triangle, we're gonna make this shape. You can call it a square, you can call it a kite, you can call it whatever. But overlapping 2 triangles doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
It is possible. It is possible, Miss Kenny.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying this. Yeah, because I don't understand. Because based off of what I understand, you guys did this. I understand that, but that's not. You overlapping 2 shapes isn't making 4 or 2 units. Okay, so that's not the shape that you just showed me. So show me that shape again. Just show me the shape, kid, so I can draw it.
Triangle.
A right triangle.
Come here, my child.
Like this.
Is it like that?
Yes.
Okay, hold that so I can draw it. Alright, so they have. I am so not good at this.
Seems pretty good.
There we go. Woo, I was terrified. Y'all drawing your irregular shapes last night, I wanted to hurt a few of you. Okay, yes, Haley, what else?
We made a rectangle a different way.
Alright, you made a rectangle a different way. Show me how.
We get a triangle and two small
Ooh, okay, so they did that. Okay, very cool. Alright, anything else? What'd you guys come up with, River?
My thing was like if you use one square here and then you add like a triangle here, you make a right triangle.
So square, and
you add-
then one here, and one here.
Oh, that's
Okay. Alright, so very cool. I'm sure there's probably a few other ones that we can do, but these are just examples. What do all of these have in common though? They all are, there's one thing. What is it? Jack?
they all use 3 shapes.
Nope. Well, yeah, but,
They're all equal to.
They all
who
have
said
two
it?
triangles.
What'd you say, Gabriel?
They all equal 2 square units.
They all equal 2 square units. Doesn't matter how you put them together, they all equal. And guys, could you have had irregular shapes?
Yeah.
Like, could you have had a square, and then like a triangle here, and then a triangle here?
I mean, yes.
Yeah, cause you can solve that.
But I didn't know we could do regular.
Did I put any stipulation that it had to be a square or a rectangle or triangle?
No.
No.
So it could have been
I
like
just wanna keep
any.
that in mind. Alright, so
We could have done all sorts of wacky stuff.
a little bit, yes. So, number 4 says, use your shapes to create a different shape with an area of 2 square units. We kind of did that with number 2, or I'm sorry, number 3. So we're skipping that one. Number 5, it says, use your shapes to create a new shape with an area of 4 square units. Okay, so cross out number 4 so you don't get confused. Number 5, you are going to get 3 minutes for this one. Go.
Because we're thinking this, but we're trying to debate. It's gonna be our time.
right hand to a sharp edge straight.
How do I make that shape? Alright, so what did we come up with? Let's see. Alright, Chuck, what'd you guys come up with?
Use 2 squares to make a rectangle and then 4 triangles of circles.
Alright, so this is their shape that they came up with. So they have 2 squares. So how many units did the 2 squares equal? 2. So 1, 2. Then they have 2 triangles, 2 small triangles, right? So that equals how many square units?
Half.
2?
Half. Or that's 2.
Okay, stop talking, playing, touching, and look up here and listen. So again, we have 1 square unit, 1 square unit. This is half a square unit and half a square unit. So 1, 2, 3, and then half a square unit, half a square unit.
4.
Equals 4. Good job, y'all. All right, Kayla, let me see y'all's. Okay.
The one that we just showed you.
The one that we asked about.
This one or
Yeah.
this one?
The one on the left.
This one.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so go ahead and explain what you did.
So
Listen.
we took our big triangle and put it on top. Then we took our square and made like a tiny house. And then we took our 2 little triangles and put it on the sides of the square. And made
So how much does your big triangle equal?
2.
So this equals
Oh, the big triangle. Okay.
2 square units, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then 1 small triangle equals what?
One and a half.
Do I need to send you out also? I'm on a roll today. So this equals half. What does this one equal?
Half.
Half.
And then the square equals 1 unit.
All right, so did they meet their requirements? Yes, they did. Good job, y'all.
Oh goodness.
All right, River, bring your paper up here. All right. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more, so because they already did all the hard work for me, which I appreciate. Thank you guys. All right, Brock, explain what you did.
So basically it's 2 big triangles, just in a different I guess way that you shape them.
this.
Yeah. So it's 2 squares. So one of them is on one of the big triangles and one's on the other. And then there's and then there's 2 triangles for each big triangle, or that each equal 1/2. So and then you do 2 plus, or I need a little, I don't know what I'm doing. 2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2 plus 1/2. That equals 4.
Okay. All right, so I have a question. This essentially is made up of all half pieces, right? So in order to have 2 full square units, we would have essentially 4 shapes. But because these are all triangles, how many shapes do we have?
8.
8. So it's doubled, right?
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. So it takes 2 triangles to make 1 square. All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the last part of this lesson so we can get the other part done. Thank you.
I have a question about this.
Yes.
Is there like different amounts on purpose? That way, there's a bunch of different shapes and there's different ways to look at it?
Yes. Yeah. So it's just proving to you that, like, essentially, you can have as many triangles as possible. Just understand that 2 triangles are always going to make up 1 square unit. All right. So this last part, 2.3. It says, recall the area of the square you saw earlier is 1 square unit. Complete each statement and explain your reasoning. So independently, you're going to complete 1, 2, and 3. When you are done, stand up.
We
what?
Are we
Are
allowed
we
to
allowed to use these shapes to like help us in moving around?
Yes, but you should be able to answer this based off of the last 3 activities that we did.
Alright.
So look at your paper.
Okay.
You said stand up whenever we're done?
When you're done answering, make sure that you didn't just
You have
write
to
this,
explain
but you
it.
also explain. Yeah. You guys have 1 minute. All right, let's go ahead and go through. So number 1, it says, the area of a small triangle is blank square units. I know this because, so the area of a small triangle, 1 small triangle is what? How many square units? Haley, half square units, and I know this because,
Because 2 little makes the square 1 square unit.
all right, number 2, it says the area of the medium triangle is blank square units. I know this because, Corbin,
1 square unit,
and you know this why?
because 2 of the small triangles make 1 of them.
Okay, and then the last one says the area of the large triangle is blank square units, and I know this because, Joseph,
2.
and why do you know that?
Because because it takes 1 square unit and then 2 of these triangles to make 1 of them, and I know that 2 of the triangles take 1 square unit, and 1 square unit is 1 square unit. So 1 square unit is 1 square unit.
It takes 1 square unit and 2 small triangles.
Yes.
To equal
To
to
make it up. And 2 halves equal a whole.
Okay, we got it. All right, the other way you can also say this is what? It takes how many triangles to make up one large triangle? 4. You're gonna need to remember this for your cool down today. All right, go ahead in your notebook. This needs to be done without a sound. Do not open your mouth. You're going to fold your paper in half. You are then going to put a little bit of glue down here on the "Are you ready for more" part. Do not make a sound. You are then going to glue it down on your Unit 1 Lesson 2 page. You should have labeled the right page irregular word problems. So get out your notebook. You should be on this page. And then once you have that, stand up, push your chair in, and stand at your table. You should not be talking if you are standing.
I left it at my dad's house, so I just wrote everything.
Okay, if you remind me tomorrow, I'll show you my editing, so you don't have to rewrite anything. All right, now, as I said before, we are going to head out into the hallway. You'll see the half sheets of poster paper. You are not writing on them. Please do not write on them. All right, you are doing your work in your notebook. No, there are no numbers. All right, so just number as you go. Like, it doesn't matter if Cooper's 1 is Jack's 14. It doesn't matter. Okay? I don't know.
Okay.
I don't remember whose was what. I just was looking at
Mine was pretty easy, so.
questions and trying to figure out which ones made the most sense. All right, shh. For the remainder of the class period, and this is where you're going to lose your mind, and then I'm going to have to sit you down, and we're just going to have to do book work, which I don't want to do. You are going to be working with a partner, doing essentially, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about, because you're about to not hear another word I say for the rest of the time. You will have plenty of time to pick your partner. Please listen to the directions. You're going to be working with your partner. Essentially, you are doing a gallery walk. Does anybody not know what a gallery walk is? Okay, so a gallery walk is when you and your partner will go, you'll start at one problem, you'll solve that problem, and then you'll just go to another problem and solve that problem and go to another problem. Okay? So there's no order. You're not going in a big circle. You're just going from one to the other. If there's a group, I think there's 20 out there. We have 34. So that should be 17. So technically there should be 3 open at all times. Okay? You should never be, hopefully, doubled up on one. If you are, just work quietly with your partner. Do not converse with the other people that are at that problem. I had to shift a few things on some of them because they were either missing a number or missing a word. So, yes, these are ones that you guys made up. Okay, I did my very best to draw what y'all drew. Like I said, y'all tested my abilities, which was not good, so I apologize. But this is what we're doing. You do have a cool down today. So once you're done working on those, think about triangles, think about decomposing, think about, essentially that's what we did today. We broke things down into triangles with this activity. All right, so that might be something that you need to do. When you're finding irregular shapes, what is the one, like, do we have a formula that you can just use? One formula for that irregular shape? No, you do not, okay? You essentially are breaking it, decomposing it, rearranging it into a shape that has,
formula.
I say, the 3 main formulas: triangle, square, rectangle. Okay, and square and a rectangle are exactly the same.
Yep.
All right, any questions before you head into the hallway?
No, ma'am.
Are you running?
No, ma'am.
Are you acting a fool?
No, ma'am.
Because there are classes going on in the hallway, so please just be mindful of that. People are learning around you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, go ahead, head into the hallway, please.